So hello and welcome again. Today we will see how we can use, how we can go from raw data to insights, and we will see all the challenges and the issues that we have. So this is a quick agenda. We're going to do a small intro, and then we're going to measure what a data literal company is, what are the main challenges, and how we can solve them in order to move to insights. What you see here is usually they say Q&As are at the end or on the roundtables, but in my speeches, I don't want people, to stay confused. So if something you don't understand, raise hand and let's discuss. That's all. So who is this guy that is here to talk about data? Quick intro, I studied operational research in Warwick. It's a combination of stats, maths, and programming. Before data science was the sexiest job of the 21st century. And I got in love with data, right? I really like this field. So I changed 1, 2, 3, many companies, both as a consultant, as an employee. And what confused me is that the amount of multi-million euro decisions that are made using rough Excels or just a gut feeling is amazing. In 2023, where we have all these cloud technologies and amazing mainframes and stuff like that, still people use gut feeling or rough estimates in order to make decisions, which for me it doesn't make much sense. So they did a survey in 2023. They asked all the data and AI leaders across many companies what are the main challenges, what are the main insights and stuff like this. And this is a small insight out of this survey, right? Yeah, I see half the class fell asleep already. This is raw data. This is not insight, right? This is just raw data fall in a paper discussing about numbers and paragraphs and long sentences, stuff like this. These are not insights. The raw insight is this: 2 numbers, 2 takeouts only. So the first one is just 20% report that they have established a data culture in an organization. What this means that only 1 in 5 companies, every employee knows what the data are, what's their availability, what are the technologies used, and all this stuff. And the second is 1 in 4 that they've created a data-driven organization. What this means is that people actually use data in order to take decisions. Again, we're talking about multi-million decisions. The companies that I showed you previously, you may not know now, but it's the major banks in Greece. And currently I'm working for efood, which is part of, you may have heard, Delivery Hero, which have 70 brands across globe. Delivery Hero is the mother company. So again, 1 in 5 companies did not establish a culture, data culture, and 1 in 4 companies say that we're not a data-driven company. And these are data leaders in there, right? So a very, very small history lesson. There were 3 waves when we're talking about BA and data. The first wave, around 80s, 90s, they used just big mainframes in order to make decisions. Many of you may not remember them, but they're full rooms with computers and heavy mainframes that if someone asked, how many sales do we have, they used to go to this room and they input some numbers and they got results. The second wave, it's the famous self-serve analytics, whereas you have some smart guys in a room that are sitting all day behind 3 screens. You're asking questions and then you get answers back. It's not exactly self-serve. It's like I have my specialist, and if I want to know how many customers I have or how many sales did I do last year, I go to the specialist guy, I ask him, and I get result. This is where the majority of the companies are today. They're using, special programs or Power BI or Tableau, if you have about them, and that stuff. And the third wave, this is where we want to go, and some companies are, is the data democratization. So everything in my fingertip. If I want to find out if I should make this decision or not, I don't need to ask, this guy or this guy or this guy. I have it in my fingertip. It takes a really, really heavy data-driven company to do this, but we were heading this way. You may have heard about all this trendy stuff like ChatGPT, AI-driven decisions, machine learning, all that stuff. This is where we want to go. The majority of the companies are there, and some other companies, I don't point and shame, but usually banks who are 100 years old are in the first wave. You know, they have the gurus right in the corner. So these are the 3 maturity stages based on books and bibliography and my personal experience and all those surveys. So the first stage is the reporting. Yeah, I hope your company knows at least its numbers. Reporting is what happened. What is our numbers today? Usually, you know, you've heard about KPIs and OKRs. I'm not going to, you know, bombard you with other buzzwords, but this is the main element. Then we have insights. Insight is, why did it happen? It's one thing to know that your sales fell by 20%. It's another thing to know why. And why, I don't mean because, you know, Europe is not going well. This is not an insight. It's not going well because product A, B, or C were hit by competitors C, D, E. Because this technology is outdated. Because. And the third, the more mature stage, is this one. It's the suggestion. It's what should we do? So our sales fell. Because of that, what we need to do in order to increase our sales, increase our revenue, get into new markets. This is the most mature companies, what the most mature companies, we'll see an example in the following stages. And one quick insight from Gartner. Gartner is the leading company when it comes to data and BI and data science stuff. 87% they admit that they have low BI and analytics maturity. So again, 9 out of 10 companies, and we're talking about very, very expensive companies, say that we're not very mature. How many do you know Amazon? I guess everyone, all right? Even if I ask my mom what is Amazon, she will know. But in the mind of many, many people, Amazon is a retailer company, a huge bookstore. I buy my clothes from that. Not so many people know that Amazon is the leading cloud provider, right? AWS, you may have heard it. So they built a tool internally just for their own convenience. And then they did it so good that they decided to sell it. That's the story behind AWS. It grew so quickly and they couldn't find a solution out in the market. So they said, screw it, we'll build it by ourselves. And it was so good and so scalable that they decided to outsource it to other companies. And now it's number 1 in front of Microsoft and Google, right? So Amazon today, yes, is a retailer, but actually is a data company. Because everything you've seen in here are areas that Amazon is using data to answer. So route optimization, warehouse, HR analytics, if you buy this book, you are going to buy this book. These are all data-driven decisions. And we're not talking about your side, the customer side, even behind the scenes, like the customer segmentation. Who are the book lovers? Who are the fitness freaks? Who are, the soccer fans and stuff like that. Sales and inventory forecasting. Imagine how many products Amazon is selling per day, all the calculation that it needs to do behind the scenes in order to, optimize the inventory, optimize the warehouse location, all that stuff. These are not decisions that can be made by gut feeling. Okay, so in my side and in many side, Amazon is a data company. Retailer is a side business, let's say. And again, you may have heard again the maturity. Another element or another view to measure maturity of a company is the descriptive, predictive, prescriptive analytics. So descriptive, as we've said before, is why something happened. I'm describing something. I'm explaining why something is happening. Predictive is I'm trying to understand what will happen in the future, right? I make a prediction. And the last but not least is the prescriptive. Prescriptive means how can we make it happen? So what are the methodologies, tools, and all the elements that we need to use in order to make something happen? If your boss comes to you and say, we need to increase our sales by 5%, I hope you know what to do, but you are going to use prescriptive analytics in order to do that. So if I move this lever and this lever, then this will be increased. So what you need to remember out of all these slides is usually there are three stages. The first one is what's going on now. The second one, whatever you call it, predictive or second wave or however you want to call it, is what will happen in the future if I don't do nothing. This is the prediction. Prescriptive is what do I need to do in order to get there. So a good example, no one, I guess, expected that what happened with Silicon Valley Bank, one of the biggest banks that failed, let's say, or Credit Suisse, or in 2008, the big financial collapse. So predictive is what will happen if nothing changes. But if something changes, like it happened today, 2008, and many years ago as well, is prescriptive. What we need to do now in order to get somewhere. Do we need to save? Do we need to pass legislation? What do we need to do? And I won't stay here for long. If you Google or search bibliography, there are infinite stages. Like we have the cognitive, we have the predictive, we have the diagnostic. You don't need to remember all of this. I did the work for you. It's basically 3 stages. What happened now, what is happening now, what will happen in the future. And the third one, the most sophisticated, what do I need to do to reach something in the future? Does anyone know Dr. Hal Varian? I guess so. Oh, one guy. One gentleman, sorry. So he's the Google chief economist, and he said that 11 or 12 years ago, but if you read, it's still relevant today and will be in the next 20 or 30 years. He said basically that the ability to take data, transform and analyze them, and then communicate will be invaluable. Right? When I showed you the first slide, everyone, I mean, even if we pick someone from the street, can, pick up an Excel, throw infinite numbers in there and create 100 slides. But it takes a certain level of sophistication and a certain level of experience in order to get out of 100 slides to 3 key takeouts or 2 takeouts in order to take decisions. So that was so important that the Google chief economist said this is an amazing skill. He didn't say that you need to be an amazing programmer. He didn't say that you need to know AI, that you need to program in your sleep. He said that your ability is to take infinite data and transform it in 1 or 2 key takeouts. And imagine that the best CEOs, the top CEOs, basically everyone CEO, is not the best programmer or the best statistician or the best whatever. He's the guy who can take infinite data points and convert it into actionable insights. And a good example of this is an actual case. I had an analyst one day that I was preparing for a presentation in front of CMO of a big company, like a client. And we tried to predict why customers leave us, right? That was the brief. And he started the presentation like this. Yeah? I don't know how many of you know about machine learning and data science and stuff, but that's just gibberish. No one cares and no one understands what they mean. And even if they understand, it's not a good intro for the presentation to CMO. So we use this in order to do that, and then we use super smart, sophisticated methods. And he used 4 sentences and still didn't get to the point. Instead, he should start like this. we try to predict why customers leave us. Yeah, this is what CMOs care about. All the other stuff are irrelevant, or he should mention it to another point. So this is again an insight. I found why customers leave us. Is it a bad experience? Is it that we're not trustworthy? Is it because of our competitor? These are insights. All the behind the scenes work and analysis and maths and stats, it's something that we're very proud of, especially the data professionals, but the hard reality is that no one cares, right? So, as I said, I was part of, I'm still am, hopefully, part of efood, which is part of Delivery Hero. Like, it's the biggest delivery. In Greece, it has a market share of 95%, like dominant. And in general, Delivery Hero is one of the biggest companies across the globe when it comes to delivery. So this is what the data stack or the databases, let's say, was behind the scenes. If we ask a question, you know, how many deliveries we had in Germany, and I ask someone from Greece, he had infinite CRMs, infinite systems, infinite flows. It goes from here to there. Very smart people, but it's very confusing. It's what we call the data silos. Data silos means that they're isolated islands of data that it's very costly and very expensive to answer questions. So if I asked someone from finance, you know, what are the sales per salesperson? Or if I ask someone from product, what is my usage or what is my conversion rate? Then finance uses SAP. Then sales are using Salesforce. Accounting uses Google Drive or an ERP. And then field salespeople have their own PDAs. And that's a really, really hard thing to do. So what data silos do? They sabotage informed decisions. So how can the chief product officer take a decision if the product, sales, and finance report different numbers? Yeah, this is actually the case. They make a less collaborative environment. Myself as a data guy, let's say, I cannot help sales if I do not have the data. I cannot have marketing if I do not have everything that I need in my hands, and stuff like that. And again, I'm quoting the experts. According to Harvard Business Review, 80% of the work when it comes to data is actually getting the data. Yeah, we have very, very sophisticated system, very, very expensive cloud solutions, ERPs, you know it better, and still 80% is how we get this data. Ideally, we want this. Many companies are trying to do this. Many are still working on it. Very, very few have succeeded in doing this. And I'm not talking about companies with 50, 100 employees. I'm talking about multinational companies. I'm talking about companies with billions of revenues. So the ideal is this one. You have all your systems in one place. Then you have your data guys clean them, transform them, analyze them, eliminate them, whatever. And then you have a single source of truth. I don't know how many of you have heard it. A single source of truth means that if I ask an accountant, a salesperson, a BI person, the CEO and the CFO of the company, how many sales do I have? They will all answer with the same number. Yeah, I've seen, again, banks that cannot come back. They know their numbers, but assuming they have different assumptions or different systems or different periods, they come up with different numbers. And of course, these are what's happening if you go to this state, let's say. This is the latest. You have one single source of truth. You have data integration and good data quality. You treat data as a product. So data are not scattered Excels and, you know, A4 papers across the whole company. It's a structured place that you know you'll get on the answers that you want to. And we did that in Delivery Hero. Actually, it was a Google case study because Delivery Heroes has 70 brands across the globe. And what they did is they managed, in collaboration with Google, they managed to take all these brands and individual entities under one umbrella, which is truly, truly amazing. Imagine a multinational company have a single source of truth. So if you ask someone from Talabat, let's say, which is a brand, or efood, or a guy from Central Delivery Hero, how many pizzas did efood sell in 2015? They will all answer the same number because everything is in one place. And if we have some data scientists on machine learning guys in here, imagine the amount of data that they can analyze from across the company. I can take, millions and millions of customers and their, habits and their behaviors, analyze them and make a prediction of what the Greek guy will do if I show him this restaurant. It's amazing, for me at least. These are the results. I won't go into details. So basically 20 plus data warehouses. One data warehouse may have hundreds and hundreds of sub-entities, right? So it is amazing. I won't go into detail. And now let's see what is the difference between a raw data and insight. How many of you know about Microsoft Zune or Zuni? 1, 2. Zune, Microsoft Zune or Zuni, I cannot remember. MP3 player of Microsoft. 3, 3.5, 5, 6. All right. So there is a reason why. How many of you know iPod? All right. There is a reason why 3 or 4 guys know Zune and almost everyone knows iPhone or iWatch or all that stuff, right? On the left-hand side, we have, this is raw data and this is insights. Well, there are a million of reasons why Zune failed, but one of the many is that when you promote a product or you promote, let's say, data in our world, it really is important how you communicate data. So when Zune launched, how they marketed it, it has Zune, it has 30 gigabytes of storage. It has a 3-inch LCD. It has, white and black color, and it has, 20 or 10 centimeters. And then you can plug in phone, and then you can connect it to whatever, to your PC. And then you blah, 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 too much info. Nobody cares. Customers do not care that you can, have a LCD screen. Okay? Customers do not care that you can go black or white. Whereas Apple said, 1,000 songs in your pocket. That's it. Do you care if it's white or blue or pink or yellow? Do you mind if you can keep it that way or that way? Maybe, but 1,000 songs in your pocket. End of story. So on the left-hand side, we have raw data. Blah, 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 gigabyte and screen size and blah, blah, blah. On the left-hand side, you have what you actually want to know. And of course, Apple is so successful that it continues to use this one motto. 60 million songs on your wrist. You don't need to know anything else. You have 60 million songs on your wrist. End of story. And let Microsoft talk about gigabytes and zettabytes and LCD screens and amazing technology. We did the same thing in efood. So we have 3 pillars in order to build insights instead of raw data. We have processes, people, and tools. Very briefly, I'm going to say what we do. So in processes, we have a library, let's say. Every insight that's ever published in efood, every analysis, every finding is stored in a library. So any new employee can go back as many years as he wants and can read what happened, what were the data, what were the results, and how he or she can use it in the future. The second one is a more geeky one. It's a departmental data warehouse. It means that finance has its own data. So he can answer questions really, really quickly. Sales has their own data and stuff like this. The second one is people. People is a fundamental asset for an organization. So what we do as a BI and Insights department is we train them. We do many, many workshops. I don't care if you work in sales or if you work in product. I can train and prepare workshops in order for you to understand the data, in order to be able to answer questions. I don't want people to come to me and ask me questions and I will be the smart guy. I want the people to answer questions themselves, because then they can take decisions by themselves. So we do training workshops, and then we have business partners. We have some partners within efood that are the experts. We have the logistics expert, we have the marketing expert and stuff like this. So if a marketing guy wants to ask a question, he doesn't just send an anonymous email to someone. He goes to Mike, that's the marketing specialist within efood, and knows everything about marketing. The campaigns, the data, the results, the responsiveness rate, and all that stuff. And last but not least is the tools. First of all, we're platform agnostic. Yeah, many companies try to sell their own solutions, their own tools. Oh, if you get this product, you don't need anything else. No. I don't, criticize Excel because of its simplicity, because it's the widest available tool in the world. Sometimes though, Excel is not enough. You may want to use Python, or you may want to use Power BI, or you may use a very, very expensive, sophisticated tool. Different solutions have different needs. And then we have automation and alerts. I don't need to have a person to check if my website is down by 20%. I have an alert coming to my mail saying something is wrong. These are the tools. And now, because AI is very, very popular and very, very trendy buzzword, there are infinite companies out there that they are plugged into your database, pull all the data that you need, and answer questions. Like ChatGPT is the latest, but before that we had this one, Microsoft AWS, Google, they all have their own solutions. I don't know how many of you, Data Robot is a company like this. Google AutoML is like this as well. They have very, very good tools in order to answer questions. And last one, this is a typical customer journey. In every step of this, you can use data in order to take solutions. From lead generation to how to enhance customer experience, how to estimate the campaign effectiveness of a certain marketing advertisement, all the way up to prevent churn. And there is a company, Random One. There are infinite companies out there, Personics. I'm not affiliated by the company. This is literally just a result that can pull data from everywhere, your browsing habits, your customer, your before GDPR, from your phone bill, banks and stuff like this. They can pull all this information together, run very smart or sophisticated algorithms, and then create separate personalities or separate personas in order to target you. If the BMW wanted to launch the latest Jeep, instead of do a mass ad, to me that I cannot afford it, let's say, he knows exactly who to target in order to be its ideal customer segment. And that was all.